This episode is presented by PrizePicks. Visit the PrizePicks app today and use the code BTJ for a $100 deposit match when you sign up. What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, our guys are reporting for training camp. We are back. What is good, everybody? It is time. NFL season right around the corner. Fantastic to see, guys. We're loving it. Time for some more content, some better content. You guys are definitely starved for it. I know you are, and so am I. So we're going to go ahead and hop into this, guys. We're going to have more content coming. Don't you worry. We will be covering every aspect of training camp so far, but we wanted to go ahead and break down a couple different things today going on with the Indianapolis Colts, mainly with the player interviews in this one. Obviously, first training camp practice isn't until Thursday, but a couple things that did happen today as the players were reporting. The Colts did actually sign wide receiver Laquan Treadwell, who was actually a former first-round draft pick a couple years ago. Not entirely sure how that's going to work out. We feel pretty confident with this group in what they can accomplish. But, if God forbid something were to happen with injuries, that could be an interesting one. Laquan Treadwell has a good skill set, but we'll see how he does throughout the training camp. And we did waive wide receiver Xavier White. So that's just news on the transaction level. And like I said, guys, in another video, we'll talk about Ballard's comments. But this one, basically, we're only going to talk about what some of the players have done. So far, a couple small things here. Running back Jonathan Taylor saying he's praying for 17 healthy games alongside Anthony Richardson and hopefully more. Again, remember we talked about last year how they only had 2 snaps together. And we've talked a lot about this duo and what it can accomplish. And the only way we're going to see that is if Jonathan Taylor remains healthy and Anthony Richardson remains healthy. So as long as those two do that, then we're going to have a lot of fun with this upcoming season, and it is definitely going to be interesting to look at. A couple other small things that are happening. DeForest Buckner was on there, says expectations are really high for this team and this defense, saying making the playoffs is all about all that these guys are thinking about. DeForest Buckner was actually even asked, I think it's year 8 or 9. I can't remember. I think it's 9. Talking about, what is he chasing right now, and more to help his legacy is what he insinuated. He wants to make it to the playoffs. He wants to see this team, start to take that next step. And it's really great to see that because, right now we've been talking about it. Like, we want to see this team make it to the playoffs. We want to see this team go out there and do something that's going to actually leave us thinking that we're headed in the right direction. And that's where we're at right now. And that's where the players are thinking about right now, is that sort of situation. So he said getting to the playoffs, having a shot at getting a ring. He says, I came so close before. I feel like we have guys in the room and the coaching staff. I feel like we have the team to do it. So definitely high expectations there for DeForest Buckner when talking about this team. Let me see here what else we had on this forefront here. I think one of the few comments that I will make about what Chris Ballard said is that Anthony Richardson is a full 100%. We'll talk about that in another video, but Anthony Richardson is good to go. You can now win up to 100 times your money on prize picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, college basketball, other entries like that today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. PrizePicks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. So, for example, for basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game and does not return in the second half of a game, that player projection won't count against you, and the rest of your entry stays alive. Summer's here, so that means NBA, football, all those types of stuff, it's not here right now. So we got the MLB and the WNBA to pass the time. Have had a couple things here, a lot of Asia Wilson props here that are really good that I'm very interested in making. So I would definitely keep an eye out for any of those. Shohei Ohtani for MLB props. Highly suggest you guys hit that over when it comes to Ohtani, when it comes to total bases. Be sure to download the app today and use code BTJ for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code BTJ for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, it's sponsored by Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. One thing specifically that is a big thing or actually, we'll talk about Michael Pittman here really quickly before we talk about Ryan Kelly, because Ryan Kelly had one of the bigger sound bites of training camp so far to start. James Boyd asked Michael Pittman on what he's chasing, says, I'm chasing respect. The whole thing that comes with being an older guy, with being older is a guy is like, I'm known now, but I need to get to that next level. And said, I haven't been a big touchdown guy, so that's something that I'm really going to focus on. So that's really awesome. We've been saying ever since Michael Pittman has been here that we're surprised that he has not scored more touchdowns as a wide receiver who has been your ultimate go-to wide receiver over the last 3 years. Mainly just because the Colts haven't really focused on making Michael Pittman a red zone priority throughout his tenure. And, being able to, he's not as big of a explosive play guy as somebody like a Tyreek Hill or something like that, right? But, if Michael Pittman can pull another few of those off throughout the year, then, that would be so huge to this offense. So obviously we see where Michael Pittman is heading towards. He's trying to gain some respect by, trying to improve and be better than what he already has been, with this new contract that he's got going on. And another thing too, like I said, the biggest soundbite of the day really was the Ryan Kelly it was the Ryan Kelly one where he actually was asked about, I can't remember who asked. It might have been James that also asked, but they asked him about a potential contract extension and things of that nature. He said, well, from our standpoint, the Colts have stated that they're not interested in an early contract extension. So it is what it is what he said. So from Ryan Kelly's perspective, the Colts have not reached out to him or have not really given a lot of thought to trying to sign Ryan Kelly after this season. Now, that is definitely an interesting little tidbit. I couldn't quite tell if Ryan Kelly was mad about the situation. Remember, Ryan Kelly, I don't know if Ryan Kelly really cares too much about answering things about his future. because, over the last several years, people have asked if he's planning to retire. And now all of a sudden people are asking him about a new contract extension. Maybe he just doesn't care to answer the question as much, or maybe he's just super blunt because there really hasn't been anything. Ballard even said that, our track record speaks for itself about signing our really good players, which is very true. I mean, the Indianapolis Colts have always brought back their own guys that are really good players. And, for Ryan Kelly, as long as Ryan Kelly wants to play, I wouldn't see any situation of why Ballard would not try to work on it. The big question I have with it is if a team is not willing to at least lock you down for an extended period, then that can only mean an extension of a few things. And we know that it's not because Ryan Kelly's not good. So really the only reason outside of not being good is they don't see you potentially or they may have question marks about whether or not you are a long-term solution to that spot. Now, obviously, Ryan Kelly is going to be 32. So he's getting up there in age. And Ryan Kelly has had some injuries. Now, I will say also, before I go any further with this is all speculative. I'm not sitting here suggesting that I know what's going on with Ryan Kelly and the Colts. I really don't know. And that's what baffles me, is that Ryan Kelly, yes, he maybe has missed a game or two here and there, and maybe has had a few hurts every once in a while that's kept him out of a few games here and there. But I mean, Ryan Kelly, he has been on the field for the majority of the time, especially recently. And when he plays, he is top 5 at his position. There's not 5 centers in the league who are better than Ryan Kelly. So, I mean, from that perspective, most people would agree, like, he deserves an extension. Now, you drafted a couple offensive linemen this offseason, and your refusal to want to do an early extension for Kelly, maybe that means they question whether or not he's going to want to be here long term, or whether, I mean, we know he's had family stuff to deal with. We know that he's doing other things. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he wants to play football after this year. Maybe that's something that's going on in their mind. Maybe they're wanting to see like how the numbers match up. I mean, remember Julian Blackmon this last year. I mean, yeah, Julian Blackmon's had a little bit worse of an injury history than Ryan Kelly, at least as of recently. But I mean, the same thing happened with Julian Blackmon. I mean, Julian Blackmon had played all but 3 games last year, and he only could get a 1-year deal worth $7 million. And he had his best season yet as a safety. So, I mean, who knows? Like, if it just has something to do with a culmination of whether or not his age takes into account, his interest in wanting to play. I don't know. I'm not sure at this moment. But nevertheless, I mean, Ryan Kelly still is under contract this year. So he's going to play throughout the year. It's just a matter of whether or not the Indianapolis Colts have a change of heart and actually want to sign him mid-season to an extension, or if they're just going to wait until he becomes a free agent after the year. I mean, no doubt that they have the cap space to make something work, especially when come next year. So who knows? That's going to be the interesting one, no. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. That's pretty much most of the sound bites there for the Indianapolis Colts throughout the first day of reporting to camp. Let me know what you guys are thinking about all this. Like I said, we're going to have more content coming, with Ballard press conference and whatnot. So, or presser or whatnot. So just let me know if I missed something, if you guys want us to talk about something more in depth. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Training camp is right around the corner. Let's get it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, go Colts.